I lost it. I lost my one viewer. He was here and then he was gone. Like a fish. Like fishy. And you have to time it just for that very last note to go out. To be the trained professional that I am. Welcome everybody to Monday Night Chill Stream. I did not get really a chance yesterday, Sunday, because I drove to Virginia. I didn't get home till like 1:30 in the morning, and I was tired, and I figured it was late. I wouldn't get that much of an audience. Although, looking at my stats. The last stream I got 37 views, which is great for a guy with 14 subscribers. So we're like 150% of the subscriber base is viewing this. So that's good. Thanks everybody that you thought it was interesting enough to check in. But welcome to the show. It is Monday. I think it's the 25th of January. So 4 days into the new Biden administration, and things are moving along at a great clip. I think the new president has signed like 30 executive orders in his first days. Yes, very nice glasses, very expensive glasses. They add 15 points to my IQ, and they're made out of titanium, which means they're like super glasses. But hopefully, I'm getting a little more accustomed to these things. I used to, if you ever looked at my old streams, I was always rubbing my eyes. My eyes are constantly like straining and trying to focus. And hopefully this has sort of made it better. Yes, we reinvaded Syria because I guess the strategy there, we got to go back to Syria. There was a suicide bombing in Iraq. So we have to stay in Iraq, and I guess we're going to have to add some more troops in Iraq. So there's going to be a few more suicide bombings. Although the suicide bombing in Iraq, I read on Twitter, people were claiming that the suicide bomber was begging for help before he blew up. So that sounds like somebody grabbed him up somewhere, threatened to kill his whole family, put the vest on him, and sent him out into the middle of the town square and said, blow yourself up or we'll kill your whole family. And he couldn't figure out a way out of it, whatever. And who knows if that's true or that's not true, but if we build up in Afghanistan again, I would think that they would come at Iran from both the Iraqi side and the Afghani side, so like a pincer movement thing. I don't know if that's how viable that is troop-wise, but I guess they would attack in both directions and overwhelm the Iranians. Although if the Iranians truly whacked the head of the Mossad, and it looks like that was legit, that they really did that, or Syria did it, might not be so easy. But title of tonight's stream, Let Them Hate. An axiom ascribed to the Roman Emperor Caligula, which supposedly he lifted from a Roman dramatist of an earlier time. But he was told, Caesar, the people of Germania hate you. And he said, let them hate as long as they fear. And this, of course, is realpolitik, right? I don't care what you feel or what you say. It's how you behave that matters. And I'm in the catbird seat. I've got the dominant position, and you'll do what I tell you to do or else. And this is very much... Everyone in the previous 4 years that was laughing and joking, haha, we own the libs. Oh, we triggered them, this and that and the other. You could see from day one of Trump's presidency, when at his inauguration, there was all the violence and they burned that limo and they smashed a bunch of windows and stuff. And like 1,000 people got arrested, or a couple of hundred people at least got arrested. And they were initially charged with federal riot, like traveling interstate to riot. And when all those charges were dropped and nobody got any felony convictions and everyone was let go, there was no reason to fear. The left hated Donald Trump and still hates Donald Trump, but they never feared him, okay? And for all these people, the Trump supporters who are going to hate Biden and he's not my president, no one cares about how you feel, but you will learn to fear Joe Biden and the federal government because they will make you learn to fear. The federal government, which people think is sclerotic and incapable of this and incapable of that, and they can't do this and they're helpless, you will find that they are quite nimble and adept and energetic and capable of finding and reaching everybody. You see, for me personally, when I drive up and down the East Coast, because like I said, I even went to Virginia on Sunday, the billboards these days are like digital billboards. They're lit up and they flash different messages at different times. And the capital violence, report capital violence is in like 4 states. You know what I mean? To the FBI, I want you to report capital violence, and they're putting up people's mugshots in like the facial part of the mugshot on these billboards. These are huge billboards. You know, your face is like 20 feet high. You know, they're really pressing hard on this, and it's not going to ease up anytime soon. We're only 4 days into this. We have a long way to go, and for all these normie, or they're really normie Republicans who are going, we can't wait till the 2022 midterms or something like that. Listen to me, you're going to lose the 2022 midterms the same way you lost the 2020 election. Okay, the same voting machines are going to be in place for the congressional and Senate elections, or whatever part of the Senate is up for election. The same voting machines are going to be used. You're going to lose just as bad. I'm going to make this prediction now, and that's not much of a prediction. You're going to lose just as bad or worse. So that's the external reality. Like if you're in Syria or if you're in Iran or whatever, if you're anywhere in the Middle East, you're fucked. But worse, and this just happened earlier today, a reporter from the White House. And the White House press pool asked about putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. And this is the end. I'm not kidding you. This is the fucking end. When they put blacks on the money, it's over. It's over. The average single black mother in America is worth $5. That is her net worth, $5. That's what she has in cash. She's probably like $150 in debt. Not kidding. So they're going to put black people, black women who will shoot at, Colin Flaherty used to cover this. They will commit multiple murders for hair weaves, for weaves. Okay. They're obsessed with this. There have been more than, I don't mean one. I mean, there have been multiple cases where black females go to these hair shops, these weave shops, and they don't have any money, but they want this weave or that weave, and they're just going to take it. They're going to pull out guns and they will kill the proprietors of these shops, shoot them dead for a fucking wig. This is more common than you think. And these people are going to be put on the currency. It's fucking over. Listen to me and buy fucking Bitcoin. Okay? This is like a thing I got off of eBay, right? If you think Bitcoin is bullshit, wait till you try and spend the $20 bill with LaQuisha on it. If you can't see that it's fucking over in every significant way that it needs to be, it's fucking over. If you're holding dollars, you are literally committing suicide. You hate yourself, you hate your family, you hate your children, you hate your grandchildren. If you're holding US dollars, this is phenomenally bad. Whatever happens in Syria and around the world, listen, best of luck to you, boys. Run sideways when you see the drone. I don't know what to tell you, okay? But what's going to happen here is going to be worse, far worse. And, when I say to people, and you don't want to live the way I live, like I went to Virginia, like I said, I went to Virginia on Sunday and I had an okay day on Saturday, which my week starts on Saturday. So I started to go to Philly, and then they canceled the job 3/4 of the way there, which is great, believe it or not, because I get paid to go out and come back. So I get paid both ways instead of getting paid one way. So that was actually a plus. And in those 2 days, I made more money than I made in like 4 days the previous week because I had 2 crappy weeks in a row. What that matters is because they're moving everyone. The other thing Joe Biden did in keeping his promises, he canceled the Keystone XL pipeline on his first day. So there's 70, 80, or some people are saying 200,000 jobs that just got cut off, just got killed. Union jobs, pipeline jobs, welders, truck drivers, engineers, surveyors, all that done. And the jobs aren't coming back, right? And so how is the oil going to get from North Dakota to Texas and these other refineries? It's going to go the way it was going under the Obama administration. It's going to go on rail cars, which is dangerous and unsafe and bad for the environment because they tip over when they go around turns and they create environmental disasters. But Warren Buffett owns the railroad and he bought the entire railroad. Every stock of I can't remember what it was, Kansas City, I can't remember what it was. Railroad. He bought every share of stock in that company and then took it private. And that was the railroad, the rail cars that they used to bring the oil from North Dakota down to the refineries in other parts of the United States. And there was guaranteed lock because Warren Buffett and Barack Obama loved each other. And that was that. And that's how the oil came out. Trump said, this is stupid. It's wasteful. It's expensive. It's bad for the environment. Let's make a pipeline. It's so much better. And it didn't quite go. Obviously, they did everything could to slow that down because they're making a lot of money and the price of oil goes up because the transport price is higher because it has to go in these rail cars. And so, that's the first fucking thing that Biden killed. You know what I mean? First thing that Biden killed. And if anybody's noticed, price of gasoline here in New Jersey, was under $2 for months and months and months and months and months. And now it's about $2.40. So it's jumped like 20% in 10 days. And, that's going to be reflected in food prices. It's going to be reflected everywhere. And less people are going to have good jobs. More people are going to become like me, some kind of contractor or gig worker or something like that. And you're going to be put in a really bad position. This relates to Bitcoin because I was read this really long Bitcoin think piece, which nobody wants to read. But essentially, the guy made, he was a good writer and a smart guy, but he made the same point like 6 or 7 times. He put far too fine of a point on it. And he said there's a difference. Essentially what he said is there's a difference between investment, which is risk, and savings, which is deferring economic activity. It's not ending it, it's deferring it to a later time to when it's more advantageous to you. So what is risk? Essentially what this guy says is that if you get a degree or if you learn a skill or if you open a business, you are taking a risk, right? You're trying to say that your ability to provide goods and services, right, is valuable enough to enough people so that you can make enough money to live. Doesn't seem like much, but that's the risk part. And then you get paid in currency. The difference between what you get paid and what you spend is savings. And if you save that, instead of running out and spending it on consumer goods or whatever, if you save that, you're deferring the decision, okay, to spend money until a later deal, till it's more advantageous to you. And that means maybe saving for a house. Maybe that means more job training for a better skill set that's going to bring you more money or whatever. Or maybe you're just saving for a rainy day, right? You don't know. You're just saving money to see if an opportunity falls in your lap. Now, when central bankers weaken the dollar like they're doing now, like Joe Biden's going to have another $1.9 trillion stimulus on top of what's already out there, $29 trillion. Okay. As each dollar weakens and weakens, it forces you, and it has forced people to make your money grow, right? Because just saving, there's zero interest, and now there's negative interest on bonds. So saving is punished. The central bankers, the people who control the economy, have decided to punish savers. So you took the risk, You get your skills, your abilities, you opened your business, whatever. You made X dollars, but you only spent part of that. The people who run the economy don't want you to defer economic activity. They don't want you to be in a position where you sit and choose and decide. They want to drive you to spend that money immediately, to stimulate the economy, to accelerate the velocity of money in the economy, as they say. They want to push you to do that. And the way they push you to do that, and the way they have pushed people to do that, is by lowering interest rates to zero and then going negative. And this creates the need for people who, after your 8-hour or 10-hour workday or whatever, not, you have to make your money grow, right? So now you have a second job. Now you have to figure out investments. You don't know shit about Wall Street. You don't know what a zero coupon bond is. You don't know what to do with any of this. Ira Mandrick, hey, how's it going? Welcome to the show. So now you got a second job. In addition to being married, raising your kids, doing your laundry, cutting your grass, right? In addition to all that, now you have a second career, make your money grow. And if you make a mistake and you lose money, now you have to work harder to try and catch up to what you lost. This creates a vicious cycle that gets worse and worse and worse as it goes. And part of what made me think about this is I realized the lottery games that you see all over, that you see everywhere. And I see these machines in gas stations up in all the states I travel to. They're touch screen now. And it isn't just that, well, you can touch a screen and get a $2 lottery ticket. There are hundreds of games. When central bankers want to drive you into poverty, they find the financial industry finds new and more creative ways to get you to spend your money or invest your money. And as it goes along, as you become more and more desperate, it's less and less of an investment. It's not, gee, should I buy General Motors stock or should I buy Apple stock? Maybe I should buy Tesla. Maybe I should buy Facebook. Now it becomes, well, yeah, if I buy Facebook, maybe it'll go up 12% in the next year. But if I buy this lottery ticket right now, I could turn $10 into 10,000. And it encourages risk taking that's really thoughtless and ends badly, right? I mean, even if you're lucky, no matter how many times you roll the dice, sooner or later it's going to come up snake eyes. It's going to come up snake eyes. Okay. And as more and more people do that, they become more and more desperate, and then they have to work harder until they get to the point where they're willing to do anything just to live indoors and have clothes on their kids' back and food in their kids' bellies. And what becomes acceptable socially, morally, legally gets pushed further and further and further and further out as people become more and more desperate. And most people, that's why I say you don't want to live the way I live, because most people can't live the way I live. All right. One, I largely live by myself, and I have to take care of myself. I'm a pretty self-confident guy, and I rely on my own thinking to guide me everywhere. And it's worked out pretty well for the last 55 years. Sometimes I fuck up, yes, but mostly I got it under control, right? And I go hundreds of miles all over the place, day and night. You know what I mean? By myself, and I manage my own vehicles and insurance and blah, 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 blah. Like most people can't do that. Now, whatever their equivalent is going to be in their job or their industry, as the people who control the economy take you away from employee status and offer you the wondrous freedom of being a contractor or a gig worker. Hey, you don't want to work 40 hours a week or whatever, like as an employee, you want freedom, which means we work you to death when there's a lot of work to be done. And when there's no work to be done, tough luck, you can starve. You know what I mean? And then what do you do? Because you probably have fixed expenses, a mortgage, school supplies, whatever. Do you know what I mean? You rent, other things, medical expenses. What do you do when the money stops? What do you do when it's the slow time? What do you do? This is when all of a sudden things that were unthinkable to you because they're illegal or immoral or whatever, all of a sudden you think, I got to do what I got to do. I got to keep a roof over my kid's head. I got to put food on the table. and that encourages behaviors that are going to be viewed by these cultural and political retards as like, oh, that's immoral and you've given up on Jesus and blah, 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 blah. Okay. But the behavior is going to be driven by everyday concerns, real world concerns. And if for people who insist on viewing this via an ideological or theological worldview, they're really missing what is driving this, and they don't have an answer for it anyway. At the end of the day, like where are we gonna go? I gotta start showing some stuff here. I'm gonna start showing. Let's do this. I got all these things all these screen shares I want to do, and rather than just me blabbing on, but this is what this is where we're gonna be. Where are we gonna? Come on, this is supposed to go faster. This is also much faster. Okay. All right, it's coming up on the bottom. That's not what I want to. Show me this one. See this. This is the problem. This is the problem. Tech. Not only is it Boomer Tech, but it's discount 99 cents for Boomer Tech. This is sad. Truly, truly sad. As I wait for my crummy 8 megabytes of RAM to do what it. Even though I've worked so hard to try and shut down every app that is not specifically necessary. You see the swirly thing going so slow? It's going far too slow. In fact, we got to bring Pepe back for a number of reasons. One, because Pepe is kind of like an evergreen, and she probably likes cute cartoon frogs. This is you're going to be beyond unhappy. You're going to, okay, that everything that's going to happen is going to make. So when someone says to you, "Oh, we need more of this thing or that ideological thing," my attitude now is, all right, what have you done or what can you do right now to change that? And if their answer is nothing, if their answer is, I provide you inspiration, my response is going to be, you're lucky you're on that side of the internet, because I would bang your head against the sidewalk until your diseased pea brain spills out onto the concrete and I could kick it into a sewer. If you lack the power to incentivize the behavior you claim is more ideal or closer to the human ideal, if you cannot personally incentivize that, you really need to shut the fuck up. Okay? So I don't want to hear a word you have to say. And I'm not going to hear a word you have to say. And the way you incentivize things is you have to be able to provide value for others. Okay? You have to be able to provide value. Okay? And if you think that value is coming from a green piece of paper with Harriet Tubman's fucking picture on it, they're going to start with Harriet Tubman, and then who they're going to put it? Frederick Douglass, Kunta Kinte. Who the fuck are they going to put up? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. This is your entire life now. Focus on this. Get as much of this as you can. They're going to try and scare you away from it. They're going to tell you the government's going to take it. They're going to tell you there's people outside your door. Buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. Again, look around your house. Find shit you can sell. Things you don't need to fucking buy Bitcoin. Every smart person is doing this. Every big shot is doing this because they know what's coming. Do you really think that, when they put black women, right, on the money, that business is going to not see what the writing on the wall? You'd be insane. They're smarter than you. They're not going to publicly say that. We live in a very communistical society. You're not allowed to say a lot of things. But they're quietly going to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet as all these companies are doing. They say now Harvard and Yale, the universities, are doing that now. They're quietly taking their endowment money because they're watching the value go down and down and down and down. And then when we're paying for shit with LaQuisha's, you know what I mean? When you say, give me that Popeye's chicken sandwich and change it for LaQuisha, this is not going to be good. This is no longer first world. You know what I mean? It's going to be really, 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 really bad. Really bad. And people will look to, listen, they're going to try and look to others, right? Where is it? Why is it not coming on? Yeah, all right. So I got to click share screen. Got to click. All these. Then I do this one. I want the really big picture. Right? This is where most people are going to go. The first thing they're going to do when they run out of answers is they're going to get religious. You know what I mean? And I understand that. And listen, everybody knows I say mean things about Jesus. I'm going to try to avoid that as much as I can. But understand that Jesus saves your soul. It's up to you to save your own ass or to save your own family. So in terms of what happens post, in the afterlife, that's between you and, the King of Kings. Okay. But here on this earth, you don't think, oh, this is a spiritual battle. This is good versus evil. Stop thinking in terms of fantasy nonsense, because you're going to end up like the Gnostics and those dopey pagans back in the Roman era who didn't see the Christian threat coming. Okay. What the people today don't see the threat of economic collapse and how it's going to dramatically affect their lives in a negative fashion. You have time now, if you're smart, to protect yourself and protect those you care about. Okay. So that I'm not saying there's not going to be any uprising. Nobody's going to come and create a revolution, but hopefully you can store up enough resources and smarten yourself up enough to understand that the things you need to do to survive what's coming. Because I'm telling you, when they put black people on the fucking money, it's over. Black women are, like I said, Google it. The net worth of the average single black female in the United States is $5. Why are they putting Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill? Because a $20 bill is going to buy $5 worth of whatever. That's how much it's going to go down. And it's not going to get worse. So if you want to be religion, if you want to attend, be religious and attend services, that's great. That's absolutely wonderful. But understand, this is not the spiritual thing that happens in the afterlife. This is the real world, and you have to focus on the real world. And what we have, what do we got? Let's go with this one. I got another, because I'm doing all this super cool whiz-bang screen share stuff. Share screen, click again. Chrome tab. There we go. This one everybody's seen, but it's the kind of thing I guess my niece has not seen, right? So what does that say? It says, in 1983, Susan Rosenberg planted a bomb outside the U.S. Senate chamber to assassinate Republican senators. House Judiciary Committee and current Congressperson, Representative Jerry Nadler, got President Clinton to pardon Susan Rosenberg. She's now a board member of Black Lives Matter Network, Incorporated. So an actual terrorist, Susan Rosenberg, who bombed the Capitol. Okay, she wasn't led in by the Capitol Police and running around with a Viking helmet. This is someone who constructed and planted a bomb with the intention of killing elected officials. Okay, her name is Susan Rosenberg, right? I don't know who this doesn't surprise anybody, right? Well, it doesn't surprise most people. and she was fully pardoned, which probably means she, has all her rights back. She can vote, she can own guns, she can do whatever. Now, I was at Charlottesville. You know what I mean? James Fields, got into a car accident, and a woman on the sidewalk who wasn't even hit by the car, who was a grossly overweight woman who smoked cigarettes heavily, had a heart attack and died. Had nothing to do with the car accident. This guy's gone to jail for 400 years. Do you think he's going to get pardoned? He's not going to get pardoned. He's never going to get pardoned. He's going to jail for 400 years. Susan Rosenberg did 10, 15 years for political terrorism, and and then got a full pardon. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But part of what let's see, where else? Where do I want to go here? Let's go with this one. Right, this is another great meme that was on Twitter. But no lie, this is all the Trump supporters that are currently in jail, right? Who did Trump pardon? Black rappers, Israeli spies, some guy who was involved with Glencore and another Israeli billionaire on his way out the door. It isn't just that no one has your back, but the people you trust, or you think you can trust, are actively selling you out. So there's no one to follow. There's no ideology to get behind. There's no way forward. What you need to do is learn how to protect yourself. And for most people, that's not going to be a physical thing. You're probably not going to, most people are not victims of violent crime. Most people are smart enough. If the downtown section of wherever you're living is on fire and there's a lot of sirens and flashing lights, you could be smart enough to go in the opposite direction. Don't see what's there. Relax. It's going to be on social media. It's going to be on the news. Don't go look and see what's happening. Go in the opposite direction of the crowds, of the fire, of the noise. Go in the opposite direction. Hopefully, you're disciplined enough that you can do that. And that's how you protect yourself. Okay. You don't say, I need to go see this. I need to go document this. I need to take out my phone and video this, because the outrage of whatever the fuck is happening will be so much that it will wake people up. No one's waking up, and no one needs to wake up. This whole, I'm going to wake people up, or people need to wake up, or people need to be made aware. No, they don't. Okay. This is hubris on the part of these wannabe intellectuals. Human beings do what they are likely to succeed at, and that which will bring them, rewards one way or another, and stuff that they've already done. So if they haven't done it before, they're less likely to do it. If it's dangerous, they're less likely to do it. Okay. If it's going to bring them a negative consequence, they're really less likely to do it. And so the idea that all of these factors are going to be overcome by some kind of YouTube video or whatever video you're going to put up on Twitter because of X outrage, it's just not going to happen. Okay. You're going to be sitting in prison for how long, and no one is coming to rescue you. So what you need to do is avoid going to prison, avoid doing anything that will get you sent to prison. Okay. Just avoid that entirely. Okay. And figure out how you're going to protect yourself. A big part of this is going to be economic, because if you are prepared economically, you won't have to make the type of decisions that the people who are unprepared are going to have to make. You won't have to do things that compromise your sense of morality, your sense of integrity, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. You won't have to do that if you prepare sufficiently now. And if you think, well, Bitcoin's not that deal, and you got enough money to buy commercial real estate, buy commercial real estate in one of the 6 counties that exist around Washington, D.C., because no matter who the president is or what the government is, that's the richest area of the country. The 6 or 7 counties surrounding Washington, D.C. itself are the wealthiest counties in the United States because there's an endless supply of federal money goes down there. Okay. When I go down to Dulles, and I realize the city of Dulles is very clever how they've done it. The city of Dulles is only like 50,000 people, and it's like 19% black. It's very clever how they've done this. But when you look down there, you look at the city, you're like, wait a minute, this thing is huge. It's not 50,000 people. But however they did it legally with the incorporation, the city is very, very small, and it sits in a county called Loudoun County, Virginia. And that's where all these gigantic office towers and private jet ports and shit are, you know? So I don't know what the legal advantages to doing it as a county versus a city, but everything's set up in such a way so that the powerful have completely fulfilled the legal requirements of the orthodoxy of the narrative, okay? Whilst in just enough of an area, the city of Dulles, like I said, 50,000 people, which is surrounded by Loudoun County, which is, I don't know how many, whatever, probably like 2 million people, you know, that 2 million people in all these office towers, Volkswagen, Google's down there, USA Today, Capital One, they're all down there, big, shiny office towers. And everything down there, when you go down to there are no beat up cars. There are no cars with body damage, two-tone. Like everything's like fairly new. Even the work vans with ladders on top of them and stuff. It all looks new. It's all nice. You know why? Because there's endless ocean of money down there. So if you have a lot of money, you buy commercial real estate somewhere around Washington, D.C. in one of the 6 or 7 counties that's around Washington, D.C. Okay? That would be the smart thing. If not, if you have limited funds and you think you might have to pick up and leave, this is where it's at. You could, the devices that hold this are about this big. You can hold literally millions of dollars in your hand, you know, and cross international borders, and no one can stop you. You can't do that if you got to monitor your property or you have big gold bars or whatever you think. So again, and when you leave your house, if you're allowed to leave your house, and you go and you look in these stores, you go in these commercial areas, see how many times you see Apple Pay accepted here, Google Pay accepted here. When you go to gas pumps, they're like, coming soon, you know, tap with your phone and pay. The idea that people are actually going to go back to paying with actual gold coins, that's never going to fucking happen. So anyone that tells you that is living in a fucking dream world, okay? That's the same person that tells you, all we got to do is elect more Republican. The 2022 fucking midterm elections are going to be, we're going to blow Joe Biden out. We're going to send a message. No, you're not. You're going to lose just as bad as you did this time. Because again, the same voting machines are going to be used in 2022 that were used in 2020. You're going to lose just as bad. And for all these dissident right people like, demography is destiny. They don't need demography. They don't need the numbers. They control the people at the top. They control how the votes are counted, and that's how they're going to win, okay? They are winning, and they're going to continue to win. Your job is to get the fuck out of the way, literally to get out of the way. There's a juggernaut coming, okay? And you need to go sideways. You know, don't be like the dummy in the movies where the thing's falling like this and you're running directly underneath it. Run sideways. You know what I mean? Don't run in a straight line. Go cut left or cut right or whatever you got to do. But be smarter, okay? Don't be ideological, because all this ideological stuff is failed. Completely 100% failed, right? I'm still waiting for this other thing to load. This was another great one. You know, and for, okay, I gotta click Chrome tab. Click that. This is another one floating around Twitter. And this is, you know, for my niece who probably doesn't understand, Jewish people are 2% of America's population. They are 30% of Joe Biden's cabinet. They are overrepresented, right? By, you know, hundreds and thousands of percent. Okay. So the difference is, hey, Judas Fly Chai, welcome to the show. What America faces now is we're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. We're caught between leftist communist Jews, like you're seeing here, with the Biden administration. And if Biden, for some reason, gets kicked out and Ron DeSantis gets in 2024, you're going to have a different set of Jews. They're going to be religious Jews, whether they're going to be Chabad Lubavitch or some other type of Jews. But his cabinet and his government will be just as top heavy, pardon me, with this tiny group of people who are grossly overrepresented in positions of power. Okay. All the alphabet agencies are run by Jews. All of them, all of them, and all of them, right? There was this tweet, I saved this from a long time ago. There was this tweet. I'll wait till it comes up, and we will share screen. There, people don't understand this. You know, this is how we get docked. This is how all the people, Pepe the Frog avatars, somebody always seems to find out where they are. Okay, because this is why. All right, I'm Jewish. I'm an American, and served our country in the CIA. So the first thing somebody says is the most important thing. That's the thing that the first thing out of their mouth is what they want you, is what they have given the most importance to. The first thing out of their mouth. Okay. That's what matters the most to them. Okay. And this woman, I'm Jewish. And then second is she's American. And then third, she was in the CIA. And then she loves musical theater, as seen on TV products, and carbohydrates. Yum, yum. Delish. Oh, and I'm super duper 1 gazillion % disloyal to Trump. Well, because she's a leftist Jew, she's disloyal to Trump. If she was a religious Jew, she'd be loyal to Trump. But that she had a position of trust in the intelligence community, right? In the CIA, and who knows what the hell she did, but I'm sure she had access to tons of info and made tons of money off it, or her family did. She thinks first as a Jew before anything else, and everything else is subservient to that. Okay, so she has access to CIA files, their abilities to look behind, computer walls and passwords, et cetera, et cetera. So you wonder, why do we get doxxed? How do they find these people? This is why. Okay, somebody like her uses government resources to find out who's saying what on Twitter or YouTube or whatever, and then they pass that on to Antifa or whatever group or whatever Looney Tunes wants to know, and then they sick the dogs on you. And then the slobbering mad dogs with rabies come after you. And you don't know why. Judas Flychai, James, I need to make a Discord. Yeah, I don't even. Discord that's very millennial. Very, very millennial. I am a boomer. This is the boomer tube. Okay, this is boomer tube. Absolutely boomer tube. What else we got? This was another one. The sort of thing that, again, like for people like my niece, she doesn't understand that this. Let's show one. This was like people like me, and we just get outraged. You know what I mean? You don't understand what an outrage this is. That every new FBI agent has to go to the Holocaust Museum. Why? Why the fuck do Americans have to go to the Holocaust Museum? If, as the narrative goes, 4 million people were burned up in Auschwitz-Birkenau, in the when they went up in smoke in the chimney. Why do we have to remember? I mean, aren't we the guys that saved them? So why do we have to visit? Why do we have to commemorate or visit that? Aren't we the ones who saved them, right? From the evil Germans burning them up in those ovens. So why the fuck do we have to go on a guilt trip? We should be the heroes. You should be, every Jew should have to go polish some FBI agent's shoes, right? You should leave your fucking yeshiva with a little shine box, you know what I mean? And go down to Quantico and offer to polish the shoes of the men and women whose fathers or maybe grandfathers liberated your people from the fiery ovens of Auschwitz-Birkenau, right? Except no, you have to be shamed and humiliated and forced as a condition of your employment to maintain a narrative that may not be as factually true as many people believe it to be. It may not be 100% factual. Just saying. Just saying. All right, I got to go back to my. I got to go back to my notes. I'm doing too much freestyle here. I don't want to be too freestyle because I'm too freestyle. I get lost, and then I'll start drinking too much. Blah blah blah. Yeah, start drinking too much. You're like you don't already do it. You fucking alcoholic. All right. One of the things in the links down below. There was a guy way back in the days when I did Uber that I met in Newark Airport. He was also doing Uber at the time. But this he's different than me. He's younger. He's a Jersey guy. His best friend is black. That is, some black kid moved onto his street when he was like 10 years old. They became friends from back then. They're still friends to this day. They go out, hang out in they used to go hang out in Hoboken together, whatever. They go to baseball games. They're both sport guys. This guy has a sports poll podcast, right? He calls himself BC the Man. BC, aka the Man. I go back and forth with him on Twitter a few times. He's really not a political guy. He's not a political guy, although he has family in law enforcement. So he's not a stupid guy. He does a podcast. Now, why would I link to a sports poll podcast on this channel? And I suggest you go listen to it. It's again, the link down below I think he only does like 30 minutes. Okay. And you don't have to listen to the whole 30 minutes, but listen to at least 5 or 6 minutes of this guy. His focus is sports and he loves sports and he was involved with golf and stuff like that. And he actually met Trump some years back. He was something of a Trump supporter, but he's not a MAGA guy. He is critical of all the mistakes Trump made. And he can see that things with the piles of bricks that appeared in all the cities over the summer and all these other things. He knows that a lot of the stuff doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And he's not our guy. He's not an extreme right-wing guy, but you need to listen to him try to talk about sports, because mostly it's, like I said, it's a sports ball podcast with a little bit of like pop culture, consumer stuff. But this guy is not a radical guy. He's not an extreme right-wing guy, but he's trying to talk about football and tennis and blah, 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 whatever the fuck he talks about. And I tune in every now and then for him, but listen to how all these political and cultural things have overshadowed the games that he wants to talk about, the players, the trades, the injuries, the strategies. All of that is overshadowed by the political stuff, and it bleeds into this guy's podcast. So it's worth, if you want to try to understand where the normies are, okay, and this guy's a normie. He's not an extreme right-wing guy. He's not a gun guy. He's not he's like none of that. You know what I mean? Not at all, And so when you hear him say blah 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 blah, now I'm a Nazi. Now we're all Nazis. Now we're all white supremacists. This is what this guy's saying. And again, listen to it. This is the normie who it's starting to hit him. Like, how the fuck, And he's a Jersey guy. He's from a small city. I'm not gonna say which one. And his best friend, and I'm really not, he like the United Way commercials where there's the black and whites together like this, ebony and ivory, that kind of thing. That's his real life. Okay. And he is starting to say, like, what's with this? Now we're Nazis. Now we're white supremacists. That's leaking into everything. He's talking on his Sports Ball podcast. Okay. So even normies are starting to go like, what the fuck is with this narrative? Now, again, since he pays attention to sports and there's when you win and lose games, there's spin doctors why they lost the game. Da, da, da. So he's sort of aware of that from watching sports. Like when somebody wins or loses a boxing match or a football game or a golf game or whatever, and they make excuses. So he's good at seeing through that, and he applies that to these wider narratives, which are now overwhelming whatever live sports there are. Judas Flychild, I need to get my eyes lasered. I did get my eyes lasered way back in the days of 2003. Worked perfectly. The problem is one eye was strong and the other eye was weak. But as you get older, they kind of get even Steven or too close to even Steven. So when one eye is really strong, your brain just uses that eye. And it's completely dominant. And it's very, very, it just uses that eye to see. But as you get older, your eyes get more even, and then my brain doesn't know which eye to use to focus. So they're too close. They're too equal. And so that was a big difficulty. Plus, when you get older, you can't see up close anyway. That's just the lens part of your eye dries out and is no longer flexible and soft to focus up close. So presbyopia is coming for all of us. For me, it happened in my 50s. For a lot of people, it happens in their 40s. Okay, what else? Judas Flychild, James, red pill me on Gypsy Crusader. I have no idea. Paul Miller, I have no idea. Is he Stephen Miller's? Steve Miller, the guy, the rock star guy. Is that him? I don't know. I don't know who Paul Miller is. I do not know who Paul Miller is. Let me look at my Mia. That was my other Mia. I showed that one already. Yeah, so this, just to continue, when people sort of see this stuff, and they're going to see this, right? To continue with what's going to be driving behaviors, incentives, and the way people view what's going on, and how that's going to drive their behavior. That might be a little tough to see. You got a picture of Jeff Bezos, right? Laughing and also waving in a tuxedo. And it says per hour, Jeff Bezos makes $8,961,187. That is roughly, pardon me, 315 times Amazon's $28,466 median annual worker pay. An Amazon worker earning the $15 minimum wage would need to work about 597,412 hours or 24 hours a day for 68 years just to earn what Jeff Bezos earns in 1 hour. And when people understand that that's the gap forever, they're going to behave in insane ways. When they realize, now listen, of course, who wouldn't want to be Jeff Bezos, right? Who wouldn't want to be Hunter Biden? You smoke crack, you fuck everything with a fucking pulse. You know what I mean? You make tens of thousands of dollars a month for doing nothing. Who wouldn't want that job? I want to party with him when I get, you know what I mean? When I get down to Delaware, I want to party with him. But when people realize that they are working, well, whether they're working 24 hours a day for 68 years, but when they're killing themselves in their Amazon job or Walmart or whatever, and they're getting nowhere, they're still going to lose their housing. Their children don't have clothes or whatever. They're going to behave in insane ways, desperate, really poorly thought out ways. And society can tolerate a certain amount of this from the general number of crazies that are sort of in the population. But you can't tolerate this on a large scale. And as the economy gets worse and worse and worse, this will grow the behaviors based out of insane desperation and the need to take a risk because savings is punished. Delaying your purchases, delaying your spending power reduces your spending power. Is if you're in the US dollar, it's going to create really, 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 listen, people who are not bad people are going to do really bad fucking things. And of course, the oligarchs are going to use that as an opportunity to advance their agenda. Okay. And at the end of the day, where's there, what do I want? Here, this, yeah. Oh, this is, oh, yeah, well, let's just show him. Let's show this guy. Let's show my buddy. All right. This is, people see this, they're not going to believe this is, they're going to think this is made up, but it's not. All right. Let's see when it comes up. That is Steve Mnuchin. Yes, he looks like a villain in the James Bond movie. And yes, that's his wife standing next to him. This is him with a fresh sheet of $1 bills that was signed by him because he's the Treasury Secretary. He's Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary. He's very, 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 very anti-Bitcoin, which tells you you should buy the fuck out of Bitcoin. But he had this picture taken and he put it up on Twitter and people were like, they couldn't believe it. This literally looks like a still photograph of the bad guy in a James Bond movie. And trust me, this is one of the bad guys. This is the globalist. These are the usury guys. This is the Rothschild dude. This is it. I mean, and that it's, the people felt like, like no way they would be this blatant and obvious, but they don't even see it as that, right? They just, this is this guy bragging, look, I control the entire U.S. economy. I control the money of the most powerful nation ever raised up on the face of the earth. And here's my trophy wife. You know what I mean? And it's, this absolutely made a bunch of people go crazy online. They went nuts seeing stuff like this and knowing what's behind it, right? Because this is the gaslight. This is the gaslight. We all hear about our democracy, right? But we're not a democracy, and we haven't been a democracy for a long time, right? Who's in this photo? You got George Bush at the Wailing Wall, Hillary Clinton at the Wailing Wall, Boris Johnson at the Wailing Wall, Donald Trump at the Wailing Wall. I think that's Viktor Orban. There's Barack Obama at the Wailing Wall. Who else? Vladimir Putin at the Wailing Wall. Xi Jinping, the president of China, at the Wailing Wall. And that, I think, is that Bolsonaro? I don't know who that guy is. But we're not a democracy, right? If we were really a democracy, all of these people would be in Athens, Greece, with their hands on the fucking pillars of the fucking Acropolis, right? Because the Acropolis is the temple of democracy, right? Athens is the home of democracy, okay? That they got their hands on what's left of a Roman prison, which was designed to contain the Jewish criminals that were destroying the Roman Empire. That's what that is. I said that in that thing, that stream with Duvin, and everyone laughed. Ha ha ha, you're so funny and you say outrageous shit. But refute me. They have their hands against the wall of a prison designed to contain the Jewish criminals that were destroying the Roman Empire. That is what they must pay homage to. That is what they must kneel to. That's not democracy, okay? That's bowing before a gangster, okay? That's shaking with terror in front of a criminal, in front of a murderer. That's what that is. That's a symbolic version of it, but that's what that is. If we were truly a democracy and any one of these people were democracy worshipers and they were going to make a symbolic act of respect towards democracy, they would be in Athens, Greece, in front of the Acropolis, but they're not. And none of them have ever been there. And none of them are ever going there, because we're not a democracy and we have not been a democracy for more than 100 years. As soon as the Federal Reserve took control of the money, which is the responsibility of Congress. As soon as Congress gave up its responsibility for the coinage and the currency of the United States of America, we ceased becoming a democracy. That's when democracy died. Okay? That's when democracy died. And it's not coming back. It's never coming back. And not just in America, all the world leaders, no matter, you have the illusion of democracy. They say the word democracy over and over, but it ain't a fucking democracy. If it was a democracy, you'd be kneeling in front of a marble column in Greece, not putting your hand on the wall of a prison, wishing the fuck the Romans were better at fucking keeping people in prison. Judas Fly Chai, I hate Trump. Well, you know what? Trump is what he is, right? There's whatever con man, huckster. He wanted to get into history books. He wants to be a super elite, whatever. He got out of line, and they smacked him down. You know what I mean? For even daring to do the type of stuff that he wanted to do, to talk back to them. Okay, that part, the whole thing of the tweets and the smart ass remarks and him going wrong in the fucking debates. That's why we all have to wear masks now. You know what I mean? That's why everyone has to wear a mask for, a virus that for 85% of the population, you don't even have symptoms, right? We still all have to do that. And you're going to have to continue to do all this sort of stuff, Drop the red pill on Halsey English. Listen, I don't know that much about Halsey English other than he lived in an illegal settlement in Palestine, so that makes him a war criminal. And I got that from Jonathan Paul. So he's a war criminal. You know what I mean? So that a war criminal is welcomed by the mentally ill fucking Luke Ford, who boy, is that guy dropped off the fucking radar screen. He was like the biggest guy in the alt-right for a little while, and now he's just he committed suicide by shooting himself in the back of the head twice, at least symbolically, on YouTube. He was in a position where he could have done something, but he chose not to, because look at that. If every world leader is bowing to an international criminal cartel, you know what I mean, in order to become the head of their sheeple, you know what I mean, right? If they bow deeply enough, you know what I mean, and sincerely enough, well, they can be, they can have the top spot. They can be the top slave in their country, So, that Luke Ford, whatever, wisely realized that he would get crushed like a fucking bug against the windshield by trying to counter signal that, any rational person, and I'm not saying Luke Ford is rational because he's a fucking Australian fucking mental case. Even mental cases, even crazy people are smart enough to figure out when they're in fucking trouble. Like, I had to go to in the city of Newark last week, and I had to go to Rutgers University Hospital. Which, if I get shot in Newark, please take me to Newark, Beth Israel. Don't take me to fucking Rutgers University Hospital, or just leave me to bleed out in the fucking street. I'm not going to get shot in Newark, but you don't want to go to Rutgers University Hospital. It's a fucking complete disaster. So I have all this information to try and get. I just have to drop off. It's a sample kit. I have to drop it off to OR, and that's all I have to do. And I can't make this happen. Luckily, the security guard sitting in his truck was watching YouTube videos about airplanes. It looked like airplanes in South America or the bush or Africa or something like that. Small planes flying over like jungle stuff, whatever. So, and he was a white dude with a fucking beard, like redneck dude, like who's, totally cool being there. But I go into security and, everything's like, you have to have the mask over your nose, blah, 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 blah. And the LaQuisha, the black woman there, she's got the thing underneath her chin because she can't breathe anyway. The Spanish girl, she's following the rules, right? But neither one of them know what they're doing, and they don't want to work anyway because this COVID pandemic has been the greatest gift to lazy people ever. I can't do that because of COVID. But COVID, stop. Don't do this, don't do that. No. Like everyone cannot do their job because of COVID. And so I try to explain to this girl I need to go to the OR, blah, 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 blah. And they can't figure that out. And so I'm going back and forth on the phone. And the person I get in contact with is not actually in the hospital, but is at least willing to answer the phone, tells me where I need to go. I go back in to security and explain to them where I need to go. And then like, okay, now we'll let you go up there. And I get there. And so I get to the OR, which is not marked in any way, which is a pain in the ass. I walk right past it twice. Usually there's like a call box or something like that. You can't just walk right in, because obviously it's a sterile environment. But I finally get in there and I get the small box and it says something sample kit on it. And I have the contact name. And they're like, we don't know who that is. I'm like, well, okay, here's a sticker that has this address on it. It says the OR. It says sample kit. I just need to drop this off to you and tell me what your name is. So this black nurse takes it from me, but she doesn't want to tell me what her name is. And I'm like, I've never had that happen before. It's like, I was like, I take out my phone. I was like, ma'am, what is your name? And she's like, why? I'm like, I need to know I need proof of delivery, And she's like, oh, okay. And she shows me what her fucking name is. And I'm like, I've never been in a hospital where a nurse was afraid to tell me her name. I'm like, that just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Who knows how many creditors are after her? I don't know what the fuck. But it's like no one does that. Nurses are more than happy to tell you what their name is. I'm nurse, blah, 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 blah. They show you their info. And I'm like, I had to get this woman's name. It was like pulling teeth. And as I worked through at the hospital, just clumps of people doing nothing, and then they'd see me, that I was the only white guy, or one of the few white faces out there. They'd see me and then they would stop talking. Like there'd be four of them in this corner, at that end of the corridor, and they would just stop talking and stare at me. And I'm like, oh man, like everybody's just doing nothing. This pandemic has been the greatest vacation for hospital workers, possibly in the history of hospital work. But that's that reality. Where am I? I have, I look at my notes here. What do I got for notes? Blah, 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 blah. You know what? I think what are we coming up on? 1 minute 13. So I think that's about all I have because I don't want to run super, super long. Already it's coming up at 1 o'clock. I got to work tomorrow, although Judas Flychai, I work at the Ronald Reagan Medical Center. It is a leftist utopia. Is that in California, Judas Flychai? I don't know where, I don't know. I guess it would be. Right. Yeah, no, I understand. Hospitals you can learn a lot working in hospitals. Depends on what you look at and what you listen to and what's going on. But a lot can be learned. One of the things that I saw on Twitter from this guy who's a legend in our communities, is a kid named Nico, who lives in Virginia. He rides a Ducati 1299 Pantanal. He's like a hardcore weightlifter guy, and seriously anti-Semitic. At any rate, he interned at a hospital, and he was quoting that there were 75,000 deaths per year in American hospitals due to staph infections. Staphylococcus bacteria. It's like a super strong bacteria that they call it a staph infection, and that's killing tons of people in American hospitals. And way back when I was a teenager in the 80s, there were like 50,000 Staphylococcus deaths in the United States. And it was in the newspapers all the time. And what are we going to do? And how come the Japanese aren't like this? And blah, blah, blah. The hospitals don't have that. And back then, the insurance companies were looking at this from a lawsuit perspective, from hospitals getting sued by people who were losing loved ones who didn't really have life-threatening conditions, but were going to the hospital and would end up dying, you know. And they said it was, it's staph infection, and here's how we're going to fight it. Everybody's going to glove up. Everyone's going to do the hand sanitizer. Everyone's going to wash their hands. And I think at least temporarily, the number of deaths from that dove, but apparently they've risen up since then. So whatever procedures that they're doing are not working. Judas Flatchai, I love working at the hospital and attending job coaching sessions. I am on a safer at home orders because of the pandemic, but I'm doing online job coaching sessions with co-interns. Well, that's good. Listen, you need good healthcare workers, but you need the hygienic practice is so critical in that environment because you're coming into contact with so many people with so many different things. And unfortunately, a lot of hospital workers are users of opioids, or users of heroin. The issue with where the drug safes, where the drugs are kept in hospitals, they're always getting robbed. They can never seem to stop, losing drugs out of the fucking lidocaine and all this other fucking shit that they keep. All the fucking opioids, all the their pills. They can never seem to stop getting ripped off. You know what I mean? So that's a big issue. There's a lot of opium addicts. And again, heroin people that are, believe it or not, involved in hospitals. So you have to be aware of that. So, but anyway, yeah, that's our current state where we are. I think I got some other few things, but I don't think they could all sort of wait. I think we could all wait. But like I said, yeah, we're coming up on 1:00 in the morning here on the East Coast. Thanks for everybody for showing up. I'm gonna click the button, play the Greek disco music, play us out of here soon. Oh yeah, by the way, as I meant to say this, if you like the stream, smash up that like button. Leave a comment. If you don't like the stream, smash the dislike button. Leave a comment anyway. I put that in my notes to tell people to hit the like button, because I'm getting 37 views per stream, but I'm only getting 2 likes, and I'm thinking I'm doing something wrong. So if you like the stream, take a minute, hit that like button, share, and I will talk to you guys next week.